Hey everyone, welcome back to our monthly series where we take a look at some of the best looking new games coming out this month. We've got some potential gems in here that I'm definitely looking forward to trying out and giving a shot. So let's dive into the list. First up this month is Empyreal, a game that at first glance I nearly wrote off, but I'm glad I didn't, because upon further inspection, this actually looks pretty promising. This is a single-player third-person RPG that blends elements of traditional action combat games with the top-down loot hunting variety in a few interesting ways. So the story and setting center around uncovering the mysteries of this colossal monolith and the ancient civilization who built it. How are you going to do that? Well, by destroying hordes of monsters, taking on massive bosses, and collecting loot. Of course, that's how you're gonna do it. So you start by making your own character with all the requisite options and sliders to tailor how you look, and then you select a background and starting archetype, choosing from one of three weapons: the glaive, mason shield, or the cannon. Every weapon comes with its own core moveset and unique playstyle. The developer has referred to the combat as a blending of traditional third-person action games and top-down ARPGs. So for one, it is skill-based. You'll be asked to master perfectly timed attacks, deflects, parries, and counters, while also using abilities that gain additional effects when perfectly timed, and learning the movesets and the unique combos of each individual weapon. And then beyond that, there are dozens of skills and abilities with a wide variety of effects, from dealing damage to providing defense or healing, extra movement abilities, and utility. As you progress through the game, you're going to find new abilities, with many of the most powerful ones hidden or locked behind some quest chains. And then there's also the gear and equipment to collect, which is partially where the ARPG elements come in. You're going to be searching for all this sorts of different gear that bolster your stats with this extensive mod system layered on top of it. And then there are the levels in the game. So all of these are designed by hand. They've got like a predetermined layout, and they incentivize exploration to try to find all of the hidden details, various shortcuts, and secret loot to be found. And then they also, on top of that, have this interesting cartogram system that's meant to bolster replayability and keep runs through these static levels fresh. So these are essentially items that add additional parameters and modifiers, increasing the difficulty, granting better rewards. This includes changing what kind of enemies spawn, what loot you'll find, how many lives you get, what elements you need to match resistances for, and so on. And all of these things are randomly generated every run, depending on the attributes of the cartogram that you use. So each of these runs will also contain an end boss with its loot table and drop chances determined as well by your selected cartogram. And they say there are even epic boss battles that enable you to target farm certain items that you're looking for, and that loot hunting aspect is where partially the ARPG elements come in. Cartograms can also be shared with other players via this mail system, so if you get a particularly good one, yes, you can send it to your friends. Also, while this is a single player game, it does have some asynchronous features allowing you to sort of feel the presence of other players. One of those things being this into the ether thing, where you can you'll find these tears in the ether in space-time or whatever, and you can gift items which will then be distributed to some other random player with its stats enhanced, trying to just incentivize community kind of working together to make each other stronger. So Empyreal is being developed by Silent Games. This is an indie studio of around 12 people, and I gotta say, I'm quite impressed with what I'm seeing and what they've managed to put together. The biggest thing for me has been that the combat looks particularly solid here. Some of the gameplay footage that I've seen, the feedback looks really, really good. So I'm quite excited to get in and try it out myself. They have also mentioned that they have really emphasized having a fleshed out endgame system on top of New Game Plus. Yeah, definitely really keen to try this one. Empyreal is set to release on May the 8th, coming to PC. Before we continue with this month's list, let's get a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree. This is the dark fantasy action RPG that blends skill-based combat, deep character customization, and immersive exploration in a hand-painted world. So the game is currently available, having recently released on Steam, and here's the basic rundown. You start out by picking a beginning class from 6 different options, each coming with their own skill tree made up of different active and passive abilities. You can then combine skills from across trees to create your own unique class, and then from there further fine-tune your build by choosing from an arsenal of weapons, armor, items, and spells. Combat in Mandragora is very Souls-like in nature. As you face off against relentless enemies, you'll have to master precise timing, strategy, and perseverance to conquer even the most simple foes, but especially against the game's various towering bosses. Mandragora is also, as mentioned, set in this hand-painted gothic world filled with eerie beauty and haunting atmosphere across many levels. You'll navigate a sprawling, interconnected world with non-linear paths, unlocking abilities to revisit or access hidden areas, uncover new secrets, and overall expand your journey. So if you would like to learn more and check out Mandragora for yourself, once again, the game is now available. Be sure to use the link in the video description below. All right, next up this month is Revenge of the Savage Planet. This is an upbeat, satirical sci-fi action-adventure game where you'll jump, shoot, and collect your way across vibrant alien worlds, uncovering new gear and upgrades while discovering hidden secrets. So the story here is that you have been made redundant and abandoned on the far edges of space. You're going to need to explore multiple planets, searching far and wide, collecting upgrades, and working towards getting revenge on your former employer. While exploring, there are many different tasks for you to take on: plants to scan, creatures to capture, lakes to swim, caves to explore, mountains to climb, upgrades to craft, and hundreds of secrets to uncover all over the place. The game features 4 large, vibrant worlds in which you'll be doing all your running, jumping, shooting, grinding, stomping, dodging, sliding, whipping, and grappling your way across. Each one of these worlds are their own unique thing with their own weird plants and creatures, which you'll want to scan and catalog everything, as doing this increases your science level, unlocking new gear. Each planet is also packed with nooks and crannies hiding all manner of rewards and secrets, many of which can be displayed in your own personal customizable space trailer, basically a little housing system in the game. Yeah, basically this is an action-adventure game set in space that's kind of silly with a heavy satirical tone to it. It's also fully playable from start to finish in co-op, which is nice. Revenge of the Savage Planet is coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox on May 8th. All right, Doom: The Dark Ages. Man, what a great looking game. This is, of course, the single-player action FPS and the follow-up to critically acclaimed Doom 2016, as well as Doom Eternal. You once again play as the Doom Slayer, the legendary demon-killing warrior, fighting endlessly against the hordes of hell. So tonally, The Dark Ages is, of course, similar to previous entries in the series. We have a story about how the Doom Slayer is this weapon of the gods here to smite the forces of hell, coupled with intense metal music underscoring the whole thing. The soundtrack this time is not from Mick Gordon, however. The composer had a very public falling out with Marty Stratton, the studio director at id. Regardless though, from the early previews, it looks like the updated new music also sounds good, which is nice. Now for The Dark Ages, they are looking to rein the pacing back a bit compared to the amped up tempo that we had in Eternal. Things should be a tad more methodical with the added twist of all this medieval fantasy theming, which I think looks pretty darn cool. So some of the weapons that we've seen include the super shotgun, there's a Gatling gun that grinds skulls into shards before spitting them out, as well as the new chain shield, and this is a pretty big thing. It can be used in several interesting ways, such as flinging it out like a boomerang or slamming it into the ground to create a shockwave. You can also deflect bullets and parry attacks with it, and in this game you can ride a dragon. Yes, you'll ride a dragon. Again, they got some medieval metal stuff going on here. So a few weeks ago we saw some early hands-on previews. Here's a couple of notes from SkillUp's preview in particular. He said that combat is definitely much slower paced. You're going to be using melee a lot, as well as your shield to parry enemy attacks and open up counters. This doesn't make you slow though, as you can use your shield to lock on and dash towards distant enemies. You can also throw the shield, which beyond damaging things and destroying armor, lets you break down walls and is a primary tool for solving puzzles. The other weapons felt great as well, according to him, with the assortment of shotguns, plasma rifles, and even a gun that fires a giant ball and chain. And lastly, he said that overall he really liked the game and its more methodical take on combat. However, he did note that he didn't really like all the new dragon riding stuff, but he said as well that it doesn't seem to be a huge part of the game. Man, that was like the one, like I was hoping the dragon riding would be pretty cool, but anyways, either way, it looks like this is gonna be a pretty safe bet if you liked either Doom 2016 or Eternal. Doom: The Dark Ages will be launching on May 14th for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. All right, Elden Ring Nightreign. This thing was first announced at the Game Awards 2024 as a standalone spin-off developed, of course, by From Software of Elden Ring and the Souls fan. You know From Software. I don't have to explain to you the games that they made. Anyways, this game takes place in a variant of Limgrave from the original Elden Ring game, and it's more co-op focused. You and your friends are going to battle against fresh and familiar enemies of the Souls franchise. The TLDR here is that this is a multiplayer co-op roguelike with Elden Ring as its setting. There are numerous mechanics and features to consider, but a general run is going to look something like this. You're going to choose to either play solo or with a party of 3 people in a trio. Unfortunately, at release, you're not going to be able to run as 2 players or a duo, a restriction that I really don't understand. Why are so many games being like solo or trio? Why not, like, are there really more trios than duo people wanting to play together? I feel like, I don't know, at least personally, like I'm much more apt to have one other person to play with than to always have 2 other people to play with. What is with the obsession with, it must be like a balance thing or something, but what is the obsession with groups of 3? What happened to 2 people? Why is it always 1 or 3? Anyways, it's 1 or 3 in Elden Ring, Nightreign as well. So at the start, you select a specific major boss that you're going to want to work towards with 8 types of major bosses to choose from. And then every run consists of a 3-day cycle. During the first 2 days, you get to explore the region, fighting various enemies, leveling up, collecting gear and loot, while also having to defeat a mini boss or sub boss. And then on the 3rd and final day, you take on the major boss that you selected beforehand. At the end of the match, you're going to keep the currency, which can be used to purchase character skins, gestures, and relics, although any gear and upgrades that you found during the run will fall off in traditional roguelike fashion. Also, like roguelikes, they're going to have this long-term progression via these things called relics, which offer permanent boost for whatever chosen classes you want to enhance. Again, akin to other roguelikes where you get stronger the more that you play. Now, FromSoft has confirmed that while you won't be able to make or create custom characters, Nightreign will have 8 playable classes known as Nightfarers. Each of these are aimed towards delivering a unique playstyle. So you got like your tanky, balanced frontliner with a shield for defense. You got your acrobatic fighter that can sidestep and dodge. You got a spellcaster with magic abilities. You got a crazy combatant like Brawler who gets right in the fray of things. There's also an archer or a powerful seafarer who favors enormous weapons. I briefly tried the network test a few months ago, and I gotta say I fell off rather quickly. Something just wasn't clicking in the first few matches that I was playing, so I just put it down. However, I am reserving judgment until I get to play more. I want to at least give it like a full day or 2. But one thing is for certain, this is a much different kind of gameplay experience than what Elden Ring was, despite the fact that it's a spin-off, literally just being like a modded Elden Ring in a lot of ways. I do hope I like it in the end. I would say my biggest gripe is that immediately, like we were talking like this was 3 hours into the playtest, I felt like I dropped in and both of my teammates were sprinting in different directions and just expecting me to follow them and know what I was doing. And I didn't know anything. Like one of the cool things about Elden Ring was kind of the sense of discovery, and you're learning things as you go along at your own pace. Whereas this game, because of its co-op focus and the structure of the game, this is people are sprinting. They're sprinting to get their upgrades as fast as possible. They're sprinting to get their weapons. They're sprinting to take down the mini bosses as fast as possible. And like that, the pacing, the tone of this whole experience is way different in my experience than what Elden Ring delivered. But again, I am reserving final judgment. I am looking forward to still trying this, but my initial taste of that experience, it wasn't what I was hoping it was going to be. But either way, I'll be jumping back in. Elden Ring Nightreign launches on May 29th, coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. All right, so those are the main games that I'm looking forward to this month. Now on to our honorable mentions. The Midnight Walk. This is a dark fantasy adventure game from the minds of Lost in Random. You play as the Burnt One and befriend a lost lantern creature named Potboy, using his flame to light your way through a conflicting world of wonder and horror, in which you'll have to survive and outsmart the many monsters eager to devour you and your little friend, in the process experiencing 5 tales of fire and darkness featuring an incredible cast of odd characters. I will say from the preview trailers I've seen, a lot of the narration and characterization here, as well as the background music, this was all very well delivered. It seems really interesting. Gameplay has you working with your companion Potboy to outsmart monsters using his flame to distract while you hide from and evade various threats. In your adventures, you'll encounter new friends and experience awe-inspiring sights as you navigate a path fraught with peril and affirmation. A rather interesting fact about this game as well is that everything you see in the Midnight Walk was first sculpted in clay and then 3D scanned, which makes for a rather unique looking game, gotta say. I love the character design here, very Tim Burton-esque to my eye personally. Seems interesting if you like narrative adventure games. The Midnight Walk launches on May 8th for PC and PlayStation. Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny returns with HD graphics and improved controls, enhancing the original game's intense swordplay and dramatic revenge story. Beyond updating the core of the game, some additional features include the Hell Mode difficulty, in which it is game over after you take a single hit. There's new quality of life with autosave features and easy weapon swapping, a new gallery mode where you can view over 100 sketches by the game's character designer. We got a new digital soundtrack selection with all 43 tracks from the original original, and the Man in Black, Team Oni, and Puzzle Phantom Realm mini games. All of those are now available to play at the very beginning. Onimusha 2: Samurai's Destiny will be launching on May 23rd for PC. Lost Soul Aside is a single-player action RPG that has you embarking on an epic odyssey to save your younger sister and the whole of humanity from mysterious dimensional invaders. So the game's got a fast dynamic combat system. You got skills and abilities as well as combo chains that can be further amplified with each weapon's unique special stats. Defensive options like you're going to be able to dodge and parry incoming attacks from the various menacing creatures and towering bosses. And the developer has said that just in general, their goal for the combat was for it to be simple to grasp but challenging to perfect. You're going to have total freedom to fight how you want with swapping weapons, mixing attack patterns, and also learning, of course, the enemy's movesets. Some other features include you're going to be able to harness potent skills granted by these dragon-like creatures, the arena, unlocking a variety of abilities to do things like boost attack damage, enhance healing, or generate protective shields. You'll collect a diverse array of weapons that define your playstyle, each with different capabilities, and you'll enhance and customize each of your weapons by using special weapon fragments that you discover during your adventures. Lost Soul Aside launches on May 30th for PC and PlayStation. Now, beyond those games, there's a few beta tests taking place in the coming weeks that I want to give you a heads up about. First up, the looter shooter turned PvP extraction game Arc Raiders has a playtest very soon. If you like extraction games, I would say this seems like a pretty darn good one from what I've played. The gunplay is polished, it's a cool setting, great sound design, and dare I say some near industry leading visuals. I mean, this game is just pretty stunning at times. It's not very often in a PvP extraction game that I will stop to look at the visuals, but Arc Raiders has been one of those games. Very, very pretty looking game. Now, as far as the gameplay loop, it is straightforward extraction shooter. Drop in, search for loot, fight off PvE robots, but mainly other players as it is full PvP. Your whole goal is to survive and extract with your stuff, making you stronger for the next run and also fueling some longer term progression systems. The Arc Raiders tech test is set to run from April 30th to May the 4th. Beyond being PC, they're also going to be running this test on consoles this time as well. Dune Awakening has a large scale beta test happening from May the 9th to the 12th, so a 3-day, basically extended weekend event. This isn't a full-on open beta, however, it seems that rather you're going to have to request access directly on the Steam page, and they say that they're going to be inviting many thousands of players with more coming throughout the course of the test, but again, it's not open beta, so it's not 100% guaranteed, so if you're interested, make sure you sign up. In fact, I would recommend absolutely that this is a game you should try if you are even remotely unsure about, because yes, there are many issues with it, as mentioned in my recent early review. However, I still do think it does enough well that I personally am really looking forward to it. It's not very often you get a game like this, and it's a type of game that I really like. Despite its many flaws, I had an overall fun experience, and it's just a genre that I adore. That being these open world, third-person shooters, loot games that's also MMO light, plus you got the survival layer on top. I really like these, and there's so very few of them on the market. It's like Division and Firefall and back in the day Defiance, although I guess Defiance is back as well. But this is a type of game like MMO, searching for loot, clearing camps of enemies, doing dungeons, and there's other players just around you while this is happening. There are very few of these type of games that are also shooters. There are very few of these type of games, and I really like them. And while Dune has its problems, it does enough well that I had a fun time while I played. But anyway, all of that is covered in way more detail in my recent video. So if you're interested, give that a look if you'd like to hear some more in-depth coverage and extended thoughts. But once again, yes, Dune Awakening has this beta test running from May the 9th to May the 12th. Register on the Steam page if you're interested. Where Winds Meet is an open world action adventure RPG set in ancient China in the 10th century. Now, at first glance, you might look at this and think, oh, it's a single player action RPG game, but it's actually more, as there is a heavy emphasis on both co-op play as well as online PvP. And for that reason, they're running some tests. Now, I don't know too much about the game beyond that myself. It looks like it has potential though, although NetEase does loom over the entire project, so there's that. But the closed beta test is going to be running from May the 16th to the 19th. Registration is now available for PC or PS5, and it looks like there isn't going to be an NDA with this, so expect to see some coverage out there as well. And that pretty much does it for this month's list. Certainly a few things that I'm looking forward to playing. Top of that list being Empyreal, Doom the Dark Ages, and Nightreign. I'm really hoping this time around it clicks for me. And then beyond that, I'm going to be jumping into the beta test for Arc Raiders, Where Winds Meet, and Dune, of course, because I can't get enough of that game. I know it's got a lot of issues, right? I just like it. It just clicks for me. I don't know what to say. Certainly going to be much more of a chill month compared to April, though, because we had all the new games, plus every single ARPG got a massive update. Speaking of which, actually, both No Rest for the Wicked and V Rising getting their updates this week, and I plan to play both of those as well. Okay, so maybe this won't be such a chill month after all. Anyways, that is all for today. Thank you as always for watching. Thanks again to Knight's Peak for sponsoring today's video. Check out Mandragora using the link in the description below to help support the channel. Otherwise, just keep watching our stuff. That's just as well. Thank you as always. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.